Hey everyone, it's December 11th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share with serial killer Joseph Kallinger, known as the Shoemaker, who murdered at least three victims and tortured many others, enlisting the help of his 12-year-old son in the 1970s, and that is him right over there. Kallinger was born in Philadelphia in 1935 and was placed in foster care at the age of 2 when his father abandoned the family. Despite being adopted in 1939 by the Kallinger family, his life didn't get much better since they were extremely abusive. He was forced to kneel on rocks, locked inside closets, burned with hot pokers, whipped with belts, refused food, and even forced to eat his own excrement, and at the age of 8 he was sexually assaulted by a group of neighborhood teenagers. Kallinger stole money from his parents to take other kids to the movies to try and make friends, and when it was discovered, they burned his fingers on the stove. At the age of 13, he sexually abused a young boy in the same manner he had been a victim just a few years earlier. His only escape from his horrific life were his dreams of becoming a playwright or actor, and he loved going to the movies as a respite from his parents. When Kallinger was 15, he met a girl at the movies who his parents told him not to see, but she later went on to become his wife and mother of their 2 children. He supported the family by becoming a cobbler. The story doesn't have a happy ending, however, as he carried out the abuse that he learned as a child by inflicting the same onto his wife and children. His wife divorced him in 1957, and he married another woman the next year with whom he had 5 more children. He was in and out of mental institutions for much of his 20s and 30s after repeated suicide attempts and setting his own house on fire 3 times. In 1972, Kallinger was arrested for child abuse after his kids went to the police to complain about his behavior. While incarcerated, he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, with supervised family visits recommended, and his IQ was tested at just 82. By 1974, he was constantly hearing voices from a floating head named Charlie he thought was following him around, and he believed God had spoken to him, commanding him to kill young boys and sever their genitalia. Kallinger took his 12-year-old son with him when he went out in search of a victim, settling on a 10-year-old boy who they tortured and killed. They then went home, where he drowned his older son, who had accused him of abuse 2 years prior, attempting to collect a life insurance policy on the boy. Along with his son, Kallinger went on a 6-week torture and murder spree, pretending to be salesmen to be invited inside their victims' homes. Once inside, they would tie up the residents before abusing them, leaving some of them dead. Their final murder came when they beat and robbed 8 people inside a home in New Jersey before taking one of them, a 21-year-old nurse, down to the basement where they sexually assaulted and killed her. They left behind a blood-stained shirt which had a laundry mark that police were able to trace to Kallinger. Their pair were arrested, with Kallinger pleading insanity, though the courts found him sane enough to stand trial. He was sentenced to life in prison, while his son was sent to a juvenile detention center until he turned 21, after which he was released. While in prison, Kallinger attempted suicide many times, including setting himself on fire, and he was transferred to a mental hospital in 1979. He died of a seizure in 1996 after spending the last 11 years of his life on suicide watch. His son changed his name and moved after release, and probably lives next door to you right now. There were books written about this case, and Geraldo conducted a wild interview with him that you should watch online, and it's crazy. And I recommend that you also watch the excellent Bill Paxton film Frailty, which has a similar storyline, though as far as I know is unrelated to this case. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Joseph Kallinger, I say, happy birthday, you bastard. And yes, I think this crazy-eyed kid is the one that killed people with him.